There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well, by the sounds of it, there's 50 million reasons why Anthony Joshua's taking this fight. In my head, I never, ever thought this fight would happen. Why? Because of Anthony Joshua's desire to be in the history books, to be a three-time heavyweight champion of the world. To me, it shows me his desire. Pick up 50 million along the way. Nobody can knock him for this. This is now business.
Heavyweight boxing experts have weighed in on the upcoming Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight. Tyson Fury didn't hold back with his prediction. A few months ago, he told Ring magazine that he didn't buy into the idea of a tune-up fight and believed Jake Paul could knock out Joshua. Fury explained that Joshua was past his prime, while Paul was on the rise. And he liked Paul's new heavyweight look slightly chubby, but strong. He also praised Paul's performance against the older Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who had previously been a middleweight, and he admired how Paul called out fighters across all weight classes, calling these TOR.
About possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look.
In a surprising update, Paul hinted that his fight with Joshua is not guaranteed after he posted on X, saying he was not expecting much for 2025 because there were too many yes-men involved. Joshua's last fight was a hard knockout loss to Daniel Dubois at Wembley in 2024. And his long time away from the ring pushed him out of the heavyweight rankings, after Paul's planned fight with Gervonta Davis was canceled this weekend. The Ring's Mike Coppinger reported that Paul and two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua were now close to finishing a deal for a Netflix fight on Friday, December 19th. The reporter said the agreement was almost done for a real professional heavyweight match that would count on both fighters' official records. Eddie Hearn, Joshua's longtime promoter, said publicly that the matchup would be a proper fight under Queensberry rules with 3-minute rounds, 1-minute breaks, and 10-ounce gloves. It has been rumored that the money for the super fight could be an even 50-50th split, giving both fighters around £70 million just for stepping into the ring. Paul claimed he would beat Anthony Joshua, saying the British star had a weak chin. And surprisingly, Fury, whose younger brother Tommy, gave Paul his only career losses supporting Paul over his fellow Brit, the 28-year-old, who has fought names like Mike Tyson and Julio Cesar Chavez, currently holds a professional record of 12 wins and 1 defeat. Joshua's promoter and Matchroom CEO, Eddie Hearn, told BBC Radio 5 that people were moving too fast and that Joshua already had a big fight with Tyson Fury planned for next year. Even with so many rumors about the Paul deal, Hearn explained, we may end up in 2025. We were thinking about having a simple warm-up somewhere. If that happens to interrupt Paul's plans and make tens of millions at the same time, then maybe. Nothing is confirmed yet. Joshua, who was born in Watford, reportedly told Sport 1 that Fury must face him. Meanwhile, former heavyweight title challenger Derek Shora gave a very direct prediction about the possible fight between Joshua and Paul. Speaking 2 seconds out, the British heavyweight said that AJ would completely dominate Paul, despite all the mixed views. The 41-year-old said, I'm excited. We can finally put the Jake Paul story to rest. If that fight happens, it will be one-sided. AJ is far too strong for him. It wouldn't be fair, he added. Right now, Jake Paul will be watching AJ's last fight with Dubois, and will try to use that. It's all about how AJ deals with the man in front of him. Whatever happens, it will be entertaining. Paul doesn't have the power to hurt Joshua. Jake Paul would be in real trouble after that fight. Heavyweight contender Andy Ruiz also gave his thoughts to Covers, sharing his view on Paul and guessing what might happen if they ever met in the ring. With millions of YouTube followers, Paul is clearly bringing new fans to the sport, something Ruiz recognized. However, the former champion did not hold back when talking about the level of fighters Paul has chosen to face. Ruiz said, at first I thought it was good because it brought attention to boxing. Everyone was talking about it. But once he started picking fights with older or smaller guys, it felt disrespectful. I don't want to criticize too much, but it's unfair for him to choose fighters who are not his size or age. When asked who he wanted Paul to face, Ruiz said, "I think I'd like him to fight Andy Ruiz." Going further, he said, "I want him to fight someone tough, someone at his level and in the same weight class." I think the Davis fight would have been interesting. If Gervonta had moved well and countered, anything could have happened. Boxing is unpredictable, but I just want Paul to face a real test. And explaining how a matchup could go, he said maybe 4 rounds.
No, I don't think so. So now they're putting this domestic level fight in with a former heavyweight 2-time champion of the world. The weight is 245. So I think last time Anthony Joshua weighed around that was when he boxed Usyk. That means he's got to be fight fit on point, because his last fight he was 18 stone. I think it was 254 against Danny Dubois. So now he basically saying you've got to get yourself in position, get yourself fit, and get yourself ready for fight. It's not tiddlywinks. This is a fight. It's not.
Former cruiserweight world champion Tony Bellew is strongly against the matchup, but he told the Stomping Ground how long he thinks the fight would last if it ever happened. He said it would go on only as long as Joshua wanted it to. That's it. If Joshua wanted to end it early, he could. The professional boxer would decide how long the fight continued. David Haye warned that no special rules would protect Jake Paul from being clearly outmatched by Anthony Joshua, saying the quickest ending possible was the best outcome Paul could hope for. Even though Paul has been criticized for the kind of opponents he has faced, he has still become one of the most talked about names in boxing. His record is 12 wins from 13 fights, with most of his opponents being retired MMA fighters. His biggest win came last year against 59-year-old Mike Tyson. Paul's only loss came against Tommy Fury, another newcomer better known for being on Love Island than for his boxing career. Joshua, a 2-time heavyweight champion and one of the strongest fighters of his era, is a completely different level of challenge. Haye told Metro, while representing Hyatt, that this matchup would be much easier for AJ compared to his other choices. This isn't Tyson Fury. This isn't even Francis Ngannou. This is a cruiserweight with 13 fights who lost to Tommy Fury, Haye said. He added, AJ is an amateur champion, an Olympic gold medalist, and a 2-time world heavyweight champion. This is a totally different level for Jake Paul, and I don't think he has any real chance if this fight happens. Even if the rounds are 2 minutes long, or whatever the rules are, as long as AJ is allowed to punch. The fight lasts only as long as AJ wants it to. Many people have shown concern about Paul's safety if the fight happens, considering Joshua's power. Former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou felt that power in March 2024 when he fought Joshua and lost quickly. Haye suggested that Paul's best hope would be for the fight to end fast, which might stop him from taking too much damage over time. Haye said boxing is extremely hard at any level and that fighters always need to protect their health. He explained that going in against someone as explosive as Joshua is not the time to learn by doing. He also said the fight would definitely be approved because it would bring in huge money. According to Haye, Paul's safest result would be for Joshua to finish the fight early rather than let it continue. He added that serious injuries usually come from taking repeated punches over many rounds, especially when a fighter is tired or struggling late in the fight. But he expected this fight to be a short one, with Joshua taking control quickly. A tough night and some soreness, he suggested, might be the worst Paul would walk away with. Haye also said he didn't think Paul was the type of fighter who would stay in the ring during a long and painful beating. Joshua has been out of the ring for over a year after a difficult loss to Daniel Dubois in September 2024, a night when he hoped to win back a world title. Some reporters and retired fighters have already said that the 36-year-old could hurt his legacy by facing someone with Paul's limited experience, but boxing has a long history of strange matchups, and this would not be the first one. The 2023 fight between Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou faced similar doubts. Haye said nothing would harm Joshua's legacy. Instead, it could boost his profile if he won the fight in one round. No one would question his past success, and he would also be the fighter who beat Jake Paul. Haye said fans should not criticize Joshua for taking such an opportunity. Many were surprised by the announcement of the fight because few expected Paul to challenge such a big and experienced opponent. especially while preparing for a fight with Davis. While Davis and Joshua both have big names in boxing, Joshua is almost a foot taller than Davis and nearly 100 pounds heavier. Since Paul planned to face Joshua in under 2 months, he would need a very different strategy. Even though Paul's recent comments suggested a December fight might not happen, signs still point toward the two meeting, possibly in January, with December not completely ruled out. Dana White, the UFC president, has been one of Jake Paul's biggest critics, and they have traded public insults for years. That's why White's recent comments about a possible Paul versus Joshua fight.
There's reportedly being worked on for December 19th in Miami.
Did I see the fight being worked on December 19th in Miami?
Yeah.
No.
Do you know which fight I'm talking about?
No.
Fair enough.
Oh, Jesus. That's a fucking bad idea. That's a bad idea. But let me tell you what. A lot of people will watch that one.
Will you watch it?
Sure. You know what everybody's tuning in for on that one. I think everybody's going to get what they...
The apparent mismatch first suggested by Logan, Paul's younger brother back in March, has already brought criticism from many fans. Jake Paul wanted to fight a champion with a weak chin after Canelo Alvarez refused to face him. The 28-year-old former Disney star said on his No Clothes podcast, "I know my limits." He added, "I want to fight Anthony Joshua because I know I'll beat him. He doesn't have a chin, he has no skills, and he's stiff. I love you, Anthony. We're friends, but I want to fight you instead of fighting Joshua right away." Paul went after a completely different opponent, Gervonta Davis, a 5'5", lightweight, almost 100 pounds lighter than the tall British star. But the November 14th fight was suddenly canceled. After Davis was sued, Paul's promoters ended the bout following an investigation. Most Valuable Promotions and Netflix then announced the Davis fight was off, but Paul is still expected to headline a major Netflix event in 2025. Their CEO, Nikisa Badarian, said the new plan was for Paul to face Joshua instead. Paul seems to be copying Muhammad Ali's style, posting a screenshot of one of Ali's speeches with lines like, "All of you chumps are going to bow when I whoop him. The man's in trouble. I'm going to show you how great I am." The upcoming fight is set for 8 rounds of 3 minutes each, with both fighters wearing tennis gloves. The result will count on both their professional records. Now, Paul has officially confirmed one of the craziest matchups in recent boxing. He will face Anthony Joshua in a pro heavyweight fight streaming on Netflix on Friday, December 19th. Paul announced the deal on X and followed it with promos saying the first press conference will be November 21st. Yes, it's real. He also posted from Deji to Joshua. Sup. The fight will be a fully sanctioned professional heavyweight bout, not an exhibition in Miami. It's already getting huge attention because it marks a huge step up for Paul and could be a big money. Big spotlight fight for Joshua. How it turns out will depend on their negotiations, fighting weight, rules, and training camps. On one side, Paul is chasing legitimacy and a career-defining win. On the other, Joshua is taking a higher-risk hype fight with more to lose than to gain. Fans now wonder whether this will be a historic night or a dangerous mismatch. Expect the hype to grow with the press conference on November 21st and all eyes on the December/night 19th Netflix broadcast, possibly one of the most talked about sports events of the year, because Joshua must weigh no more than 245 pounds for the fight. There is already a size limit, even though he has recently weighed far more. His last recorded weight was much higher. Joshua responded boldly, saying, "Jake, or anyone can get this work. No mercy. I took some time off. I'm coming back with a mega show. It's a big chance for me. Whether you like it or not, I'm here to make big numbers, have huge fights, and break records while staying calm." Paul hit back. "This isn't an AI simulation. This is Judgment Day, a real pro heavyweight fight against a top world champion in his prime. If I beat Anthony Joshua, all doubts disappear, and no one can stop me from fighting for a world title." He added, "To my haters, this is what you asked for. To the people of the UK, sorry." Joshua added to the drama on X by posting "He's loco men," with a link to ticket sales that he said would open for pre-sale on November 21st, with general sale the next day. That message showed how quickly the fight went from rumor to major event. Fans can now buy seats for what is shaping up to be a highly debated night in Miami on December 19th. Eddie Hearn, chairman of Matchroom Sport, added a warning about what's at stake, saying to be careful what you wish for. He said he respected Paul's confidence, but warned Paul might learn a hard lesson. Hearn described the fight as both a major commercial success and a possibly uneven sporting matchup. Together, Joshua's ticket push and Hearn's warning have shaped the public story. This is not just a normal crossover fight. It's being promoted as a full heavyweight showdown, with real danger for Paul's reputation and even bigger consequences for Joshua's legacy. As press events and ticket sales begin November 21st, the fight becomes more than just boxing. It becomes about image, risk, and whether Paul's bravado...
Thoughts on it is that Jake Paul's had a lot of accusations over the years for a guy who's had no amateur fights. What's he had, about 10 or 12 fights? I'm not sure what he's had. And, you know, you look at the opposition he's had and people saying, when's he going to fight somebody? He stepped up. He's stepping up to a two-time world champion, a genuine heavyweight, a proper heavyweight champion, and an active fighter. And this is a big moment for him. And you've got to take your hat off to him for that. As regarding AJ, I'm sure AJ's wants a fight back after that, that unbelievable loss he had against Daniel Dubois. Which was quite an emphatic loss. He wants to come back, get himself, dip his toe in the water. He's going to get paid a lot of money for this. This fight's going to generate a lot of money because for me, it's a fighter. Jake Paul's going to be a massive underdog against a big favourite, a big odds-on favourite. Can he do it or not? This is a car crash. And people will watch it because that's what people do.
Jake Paul. Excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute. To be quite honest with you, and as a safety aspect, there's no way that fight can go ahead. At the end of the day, my God, how good does it make me look? He gets beat by Jake Paul. Well, that automatically makes me two-time heavyweight champion of the world, doesn't it? There's no proper way. I've got to laugh about it. How are we even talking about this? He got his nut boxed off by me a little over 2 years ago. And now all of a sudden, he's talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. It's like, come on. Like, you can't be serious. You can't beat me. I'm not Anthony Joshua, am I?